I mean, we share one globe, so we have, in that sense, have a similar agenda, I think, where we want to make a better future for our children and for next generations. And of course, education and research is key for us to solve those global challenges. China and Sweden are, of course, very different countries, very different size, but in that sense, we have a similar agenda. We all share the same habitat in the future, and therefore, I mean, both teaching, research, and innovation is key to addressing these challenges. We have no other choice, I think. Well, I mean, in the academic area, it's always built on international collaborations. Academia has a very old tradition of working in that way. It's been very, very successful in many centuries. And I don't see any shift there in the future. We need to continue collaborating. We need to learn from each other. And we need to exchange talent and students and sort of broaden their perspective, both in terms of sort of experience from different labs and different environments, different cultures, etc., so we can address different questions. And Sweden is a very small country, and China and India and some other countries are two orders of magnitude larger than us. So it's important for us to have a perspective on scale, which in Sweden sometimes we forget about this sort of scale. There's sort of a qualitative difference when you talk about that sort of over 1 billion people in one area versus 10 million. So when you do engineering, for example, you need to think in a different way. And I think it's good for both sides to understand, sort of learn from each other. Sweden has certain modus operandi, if you wish, when it comes to engineering, and China, India, and other countries might have a rather different modus operandi. And I think there's a very fruitful exchange between these different sort of ways of viewing the problem of engineering as problem solving. I was here this morning and listened to the discussions, and I see that the other institutions that we're visiting with have student exchange programs, and it's certainly an interesting thing to think about for us. We have a similar profile at the Royal Institute, for example, so we could set up similar programs to have exchanges on the similar modus operandi for the student exchange. And of course you can have PhD exchange, so it goes all the way. So you can have different exchanges at different levels, which will benefit both sides. I mean, coming back to the question of sort of experiencing something else when in the international scene during your studies or your research is in general a good idea. So they're sort of, I don't think it's sort of the similar thing that sort of reoccurs in academia. Student exchanges, PhD programs, postdoc exchanges, of course, were very natural, and also faculty that sort of do research together and have intern sort of guest programs, etc. Thinking that the question about energy is a pressing one. I mean, both from the perspective of an increased energy need in general to support our increased energy thirst in, for example, AI, sort of driving a lot of energy need. But of course, the most fundamental and big question in the background is still sustainable energy and having a green transition in the energy conversion sector. And that is an area that I think it's very fruitful to have a collaboration between our institutions.
What have your impressions of the city been?
We went around the campus on a small tour, and it was a beautiful campus, and it's kind of very exciting to hear that it opened up like a few months ago. It of course doesn't look, I mean, it looks very new, but it's still difficult to comprehend the fact that you became fully operational just a couple of months ago. Beautiful architecture. We looked down from the high tower. We looked down on this sort of half circle, if you wish, that sort of presenting the collaboration in a sense in a very nice geometric form. So I think that the whole campus it's very, very beautiful. And the idea of having this river enclosing, which it has this organic inspiration in the cell membrane, and sort of it's a very, very nice concept, I think. So you have very impressive premises here and a very nice campus. I think that the students would love to study here. I mean, it's a great place, I think. You're doing great work, obviously, and you're planning to expand, especially your education even further. And I think that you should it's very important to stick to the basic idea. Very often I think that the original idea you had when you created something is actually quite fruitful. Of course you adjust a little bit, but at the fundamental level, the idea should be maintained. And it's very easy to forget that when you have so many things you need to think about and maneuver, etc. But to every once in a while go back and remind yourself ritually or mentally or however you do it about the why are we doing this? And there's often a good sort of way of reassuring yourself that you're sort of on the right path for the long run, even though you need to maneuver the current situation. So that might be a message.